Hello and welcome to Odds on La Liga Matchday 10, the weekend of El Clásico, a very important Clásico, I would say, not because of the standings, we are still in October, but because the feeling of both teams, Alvaro, is not great, I would say. Barcelona have won the last two games, but I was not convinced about the wins against Girona or even against Olympiacos, and Real Madrid lost the first important game of the season against Atlético de Madrid, and they have still a lot of problems. So I think it's important for both sides.
It is important. I have the theory that this season, most of the sides, most of the teams, I'm talking about maybe 13 out of 20, are going to have a low point tally, meaning that Madrid and Barcelona are most likely to have a high point tally at the end of the season. Therefore, every time Real Madrid and Barcelona make a mistake, the other team can capitalize. Real Madrid hasn't had a fantastic start, but they have 24 points out of 27. Barcelona's start is worse. They suffer, and yet they have 20 points out of 27. I think that both teams can hit the 89 to 93 points standards, and any mistake is costly for that reason. So this Clásico is quite important. It's quite important. I think Real Madrid have been more stable, and Barcelona lately have shown a few worrying signs that they have to correct as soon as possible. But with Eric Garcia and 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 as center backs, I think it's difficult not to concede goals. This is going to be my main reasoning ahead of El Clásico when it comes to betting on them. But other than that, let me say something, Edu, and I will say this more quickly. I'm glad that La Liga game Villarreal-Barcelona is not played in Miami. That was a joke. It was a joke because at the end of the season nobody knew about it. We got to know about this in the middle of the season. It was a joke because it kills the equality in La Liga. La Liga and home domestic tournaments are based on a team playing at home and away and against the same opponent. And that was going to be destroying, therefore, the equality in La Liga and the parity between games and between fixtures. So I'm very happy about that. That shouldn't happen. And on the other hand, we have to also respect the fans. I mean, you cannot take a game of La Liga just to Miami because you want, because Villarreal fans probably wanted to play and to see their team playing against Barcelona at home. So luckily, the game in Miami is cancelled.
I completely agree, and the role of La Liga, Villarreal and Barcelona has been terrible. It was the company who was bringing the game to the US, the one that pulled out the trigger because they were concerned about all the people angry about it, because La Liga wanted to bring this game, Villarreal as well, and Barcelona as well, but all the other teams protested actually last weekend. So at the end, we won't have a game in Miami. So let's analyze everything in this weekend, guys. Special attention to El Clásico, of course. Don't forget to tell me your tips about El Clásico. I'm looking forward to reading them. And of course, press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. And we have a good game to start on Friday. We have Real Sociedad Sevilla. Real Sociedad struggling a lot this season. They are in relegation spots. Only 6 points. They couldn't beat Celta, even if they played the second half with one player more. Only a draw. 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 was not there, but still, I think they have enough quality to win these kind of games. And I'm not sure, Alvaro, perhaps it's a match ball for Sergio Francisco playing at home against Sevilla. They lost to Rayo Vallecano in the last game in Anoeta, and Sevilla, the joy of beating Barcelona was over when they faced Mallorca in a really poor second half. Perhaps this is the reality of Sevilla right now. They cannot dream with Europe. It's just a middle table team, and thank you.
Let's see about that, because as I said before, I think that the point tally for many teams in La Liga is going to be quite low this season, and that will make things more equal. by lowering the bar for everyone. So maybe in the region of 55 to 57 points, you can get to the Conference League or the Europa League, and the likes of Sevilla or the likes of even, let's say, Espanyol can qualify for the Conference League, not having the greatest of seasons. Okay, this is something that we'll see happening, I think, by April. But anyway, coming into this game, look, Sevilla are really good away from home. I have to say this. This is something that comes to mind straight away. In fact, they are the third best side away, having collected 9 points out of 12 when they played on the road. There is something that is interesting coming into this game as well. I know that Real Sociedad doesn't score many goals. This is their main issue. They have conceded 13, which is okay, but they have scored very poor average of goals. The scoring tally is awful. But on the other hand, we have to take into consideration that Sevilla scores goals and concedes goal as well. I think that in their games there is an average of over 2.5 goals that we have to take into account coming into this game. So I'm going to go for both teams to score. I think Real Sociedad will score one, at least at home. They are playing against Sevilla. Sevilla has a decent defense, but not the best one. And Sevilla is scoring goals away from home. I repeat again, they are the third best side away. There is a player that I mentioned him quite a lot, but he has taken part in 36% of Sevilla's goals this season. I'm talking about Vargas, the Swiss international. I think that him being dangerous up front can make the difference for Sevilla. And then Sevilla will probably miss 𝗀𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏, who will be out for this game, having played all La Liga games. Let's see who plays in defense all together with Marcao. I guess that 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 or 𝗀𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗀 will have a chance. But yeah, both teams to score just because Real Sociedad needs the 3 points and because Sevilla kind of scores away from home with a certain ease. So I'm going to go for that. Both teams to score 191.
On Saturday, we have a clash between the worst two teams in La Liga so far, Girona and Real Oviedo, both also with 6 points, same as Real Sociedad. Girona looking slightly better. They are improving. We saw it against Barcelona, really close to get a point, and even in the first half, they missed so many chances. Last home game, they beat Valencia, for instance. The opposite, I could say, for Oviedo, Alvaro, they lost to Espanyol in the debut of the new manager, Carrión. Girona really favorite for this game. It's really tough to put our money on Oviedo at the moment.
It's very tough to put it on Oviedo, and I tell you why. Because Oviedo has scored only 4 goals. They're going to go down. I mean, they have scored 4 goals. This is a projection of 20 goals scored at the end of the season. You don't stay in La Liga like this. Then they chase the manager. Let me say something about Carrión. He has never won a game in La Liga, as hard as it sounds. He's been in charge of 10 games in La Liga. He has never won any. You know, how promising is this? I don't know. Maybe Oviedo improves. I hope they improve. But coming into this game, I'm going to focus on Girona's improvement. Yes, they lost at Barcelona's home ground, but they had a few one-on-ones that Szczęsny managed to stop, or the strikers misfired. You can see it both ways. The difference between Girona, or one of the main differences between Girona 2 years ago and now, is that in the past it was 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 who had these goal opportunities, and right now 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is not there. So, you know, this is the problem. The likes of Vanat are playing up front, or Bryan Gil, and they don't score many goals. We know that. But still, I think that Girona is the favorite for this game. They are going to win, I think. Even despite keeping into account that Girona has the worst goal difference in the league, and they have scored only 6 goals. But partially, this is down to how much they misfire. But if you check the bigger picture, in the last 5 games, Girona has collected 4 games, has collected 1 win, 2 draws, and they have suffered 1 loss against Barcelona. And believe me, they could have drawn against Barcelona. They could have drawn against them. It was needed the goal of Araujo in the last minute just to untie that game. So Girona to win for me here, 185.
Next one, both teams we thought they were going to fight against relegation, Espanyol Elche, but they are doing a great start of the season. 15 points for Espanyol, 14 for Elche. Elche drew with Athletic, only 1 defeat this season in the last away game in Vitoria against Alavés, and Espanyol beat Oviedo away, only 2 defeats this season. Hats off, Alvaro, 2 of the best surprises of the season.
Yeah, definitely. I think that we can consider Elche one of the big surprises of the season because they've been very good. The other day they drew with Athletic de Bilbao. They are rocky. They are mature in a way, despite not having a lot of experience in La Liga. And their coach, Eder Sarabia, has created a very good team, which is quite different from the team that played last season in the second division. This Elche is slightly more rocky. They understood that for them to stay in La Liga, they need to defend better. They drew with Atlético de Madrid in August, which was already a very positive sign. And, they have had, obviously, disappointing results sometimes, but they are rather stable. All that said, I have to say that Espanyol is in a very good moment as well. They won away, by the way, in the last weekend. There was their first away win this season, and they have also shown maturity. They have also shown a very big improvement since they got promoted in summer 2024. So Elche over there at Espanyol can see themselves in the mirror a little bit. This is what Espanyol has done. It took them a little while to adapt to La Liga last season, but then they didn't suffer. And I think that Elche will be very happy to follow a very similar trajectory. But coming into this game, I'm going to favor the home side a little bit. This could be a draw, and the draw always pays well, obviously. Otherwise, if I have to plump for someone, it would be Espanyol with an Asian handicap minus 0.25. That pays 175. But the draw being 340 is not a bad take either.
Not at all. Could be a draw. And the next one, I think it could be a low-scoring game. Athletic Getafe, because Athletic are struggling a lot to score goals. Only 9 goals scored this season. And struggling in general, I would say, but they won in the last home game they had in Bilbao, and Getafe, they have 2 absentees, of course, because they were playing against with 9 men against Real Madrid, but we saw also how difficult it is to beat Getafe. They are winless in the last 5. So I expect a close game, Alvaro, probably unspectacular.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pass for me. Because Athletic de Bilbao will be playing in the Champions League a few days before against 𝗀𝗏𝗏. That game is not going to be easy. Maybe the game against 𝗀𝗏𝗏 presents the same type of challenges that Getafe can present. Then Ernesto Valverde is rotating a lot. There are new players who are getting in the squad, and new players, obviously, with little experience in the top flight, are inconsistent sometimes, and that inconsistency of those new players is reflecting in the team as well. Good that Nico Williams is fully recovered, but is he ready to play 90 minutes back-to-back games? I don't think so. So this game is a little bit of a pass. And don't get me wrong, I think that Athletic de Bilbao is better than Getafe, but I'm taking into account a couple of things. Number one, the congestion of the calendar for Athletic de Bilbao. This is very important. And number two, the fact that Bordalás manages to get results in San Mamés, not against Real Madrid, as we saw last weekend. Bordalás has played 16 games against Real Madrid and has won 0. But against Athletic de Bilbao, I remember Bordalás knocking out Athletic being the Valencia coach in the Cup semi-final in 2022. And I also remember Getafe last season coming into San Mamés in August 2024 with no striker and getting a draw against Athletic de Bilbao. Meaning that Bordalás knows how to grind the gears of Athletic de Bilbao. Bordalás knows how to prepare these games very well. And Athletic de Bilbao is involved in a few competitions and rotating heavily. So this is going to be a pass for me, take into account as well that no 𝗀𝗏𝗏 in this game for Getafe because he got a straight red against Real Madrid, and 𝗀𝗏𝗏 is one of the good defenders of Getafe, but anyway, this is a pass.
Well, the under 2 goals pays 1.9. Then the bookies don't expect goals. Also, I don't expect many goals, so perhaps it's good also to take a look at the under market. And for Saturday, we have a derby Valencia, Villarreal. Valencia struggling in the last weeks. Perhaps they deserve even to lose against Alavés, but they caught a draw. They are winless in the last 4, and they were playing against relegation teams like Oviedo or Girona, and they lost those games, so they could be in trouble. Villarreal also 4 winless games for them, including the defeat against Man City in the Champions League, although they had a very tough schedule against Betis, against Real Madrid, for instance. So the bookies place them as favorites, and well, Alvaro, I guess they should take something in this. This is a regional derby, remember.
It is a regional derby, yeah. I'm going to go for both teams to score here. I think that this can happen. At the end of the day, the games of Villarreal this season have produced 26 goals, 16 scored, 10 conceded. And the games of Valencia this season have produced 24 goals, 10 scored, 14 conceded. Valencia is playing at home. Valencia obviously needs to attack. In the last games, Valencia has played at home. They have scored, like for example against Atlético de Bilbao, like for example against Oviedo, a game that they didn't win, by the way, but at least they score at home. And Villarreal is a good scoring side, not great scoring side, but a good scoring side with plenty of options on the bench. If 𝗀𝗲𝗿𝗀𝗏𝗀, for example, didn't start against Manchester City, then I can expect him to start in this game. So, this is the level that Marcelino has in his hands. These kind of players, 𝗀𝗲𝗿𝗀𝗏 on the bench, Gerard Moreno on the bench, the likes of Pepe or Tajon Buchanan, who can step up and play a few minutes. And Valencia are playing at home as well. They will take this derby very seriously because it's quite crucial for them. Valencia has only 9 points and the results aren't good right now. And Valencia cannot afford to keep on dropping points because we know what happens at Valencia. As soon as the manager loses or doesn't collect a win in 6 or 7 games, normally the board changes the manager. And that would be a bad news for Valencia. So probably the coach knows that this game is very important. 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏, he will prepare the game accordingly, and Villarreal tends to score in games, that's for sure. So I'm going to go for both teams to score in this game. That pays 170.
And for Sunday, Mallorca, Levante, crucial win for Mallorca against Sevilla away. They had an amazing second half, and 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 keeps scoring. His record is brilliant. What a start of the season, 5 goals. Also with Kosovo is shining. And now they are favorites against Levante. Probably they played the worst game of the season, really ugly defeat against Rayo Vallecano. But be careful also, Alvaro, because Levante played better away than at home.
Yeah, this can be, I guess, that one of the storylines that you can draw from this game, the fact that Levante away from home is decent. But I'm gonna take as the main plot here the fact that Mallorca has improved to the point that Mallorca got 6 points out of the last 9. They beat Alavés 1-0 in a game that you could say it can be similar to the game against Levante, and then they beat Sevilla 3-1, scoring 3 goals in the space of 10-15 minutes, which was good to see. I think Mallorca has been better this season than the results suggest. They are coming out from a dangerous area, which is the relegation zone. And I think that this is the game that can somehow consolidate the good things that they have shown over the last 3-4 weeks. So I'm going to go for Mallorca here. Not for a win, because there is a bit of element of risk here. And I am more than happy to lower down the risk and yet take a little bit of good value here. With an Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Mallorca, playing at home, 182.
And now the game of the games, El Clásico on Sunday. As I said at the beginning, a very important Clásico. Last season, Barcelona won all 4, and thanks to that, they won all the domestic titles. It was crucial in both La Liga games, Copa del Rey, and also in the Super Cup. I think it's very important for the manager, Xabi Alonso, because he lost the first important game against Atlético de Madrid with some bad decisions, and now he has to amend those, and especially, I would say, Alvaro, punish Barcelona's flaws, because I think they haven't started well the season. We could see Hansi Flick nervous against Girona, and even if they won the last two games, again, against Olympiacos, they suffered defensively, and I guess it's one of the key aspects of this Clásico. You mentioned at the beginning, Barcelona's high line with Eric Garcia and 𝗀𝗵𝗂𝗍, and perhaps Mbappé has learned from the previous Clásico at the Bernabeu when I think he was 7 times in offside. What is your first thoughts about El Clásico? The bookies place Real Madrid as favorites. I would put the odds very level, I would say, for both sides. Even in the last hours, Real Madrid is even more favorites. It's only 2.10 for them to win this game.
Very leveled for me, very leveled as well. I think that either side can win this game. Let's start by saying that Real Madrid hasn't won an important game or one of the top games in La Liga or in the Champions League for over a year now. They lost to Arsenal twice. They lost to Barcelona 4 times last season. They lost to Paris Saint-Germain in the Club World Cup. They lost to Atlético this season too. Okay, so Real Madrid needs a win of this level against a team like Barcelona. They really need it. I think that it will be some sort of backing, and for Xabi Alonso, and it will provide a certain confidence backbone to Real Madrid. This is for sure. Real Madrid have done well in the rest of the games, though. I mean, they are the team in La Liga with most wins, and they've got La Liga's top scorer, Kylian Mbappé. 10 goals scored already. Quique scored 11 games in a row for club and country, which is in 11 games in a row for club and country, which is the best run of his career. So Mbappé is in top form, and him to score is one of my first bets, one of my first recommendations, 191. I don't know if Vinicius is going to play, but Vinicius has become this season the agitator in a good way. He's got 9 goal contributions in La Liga, so maybe Vinicius, if he comes onto the pitch, he can bring something. But I know that Mbappé is going to start. I don't know if Vinicius is going to start, but I know that Mbappé is going to start. So Mbappé to score 191. That would be my first bet. Then I think that 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 has to play. No player has a better understanding of Kylian Mbappe's move than 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. So that's why the Turkish player has to play. So Güler assisting and Mbappé scoring can be one of the combined individual ACCAs that I could recommend, but I prefer to stick to Mbappé to score, plain and simple. And I think that Mbappé can capitalize from Barcelona's high line as well, because last season it was Íñigo Martínez and 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 working the high line almost to perfection, especially at the start of the season. This season is 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 and Eric Garcia, or 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏 and Araujo, and the understanding is not the same. Also against Olympiacos, I was a bit worried about 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏 and Eric Garcia and the way they played the ball. I mean, the only justification to play with Eric Garcia is because he knows how to pass the ball, but some of his passing was a little bit sloppy. I think that 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏 and Eric Garcia is not a title-winning defense. I think that with Araujo, Barcelona will be slightly better, but still not perfect at all. But I'm not ready to commit to the full-time result market, because I think that anything can happen in this game. However, I think that goals will happen, because goals happened last season and because goals will happen this season. Over 3 goals, 152 is something that I like. Otherwise, you can go up to over 3.5 goals maybe, but I could combine over 3 goals and Mbappé to score, and I think that the value will be pretty decent. This is going to be, in fact, my ACCA at the end of the show. And when it comes to Barcelona, just a few things. Yes, they have the best goal difference in La Liga. Yes, many players have scored because they've got many players in the sidelines, the likes of Lewandowski or Rafinha. So the goals are coming from different sources as well. One of them, Fermín, who for me is fantastic, terrific, better and more important right now than Dani Olmo. And Fermín can be one of the difference makers in this game. Let's see if Rafinha plays, but if Rafinha plays, he's not going to be 100%. So, I think that maybe he doesn't have a very big impact in this game as he had last season. But yeah, generally speaking, Barcelona is scoring. Lamine Yamal is back. Fermín is playing very well, and Pedri and De Jong in midfield, they run the show better than Camavinga and 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏. Okay, so Barcelona will have their chances, even though I don't like their defense. But I'm going to go for over 3 goals and Mbappé to score. I think that this is the best I can get. I wouldn't commit to the full-time market because, really, this game is quite open.
Also, Rashford is delivering. He is scoring in the Champions League, and I think he's been decent so far with Barcelona. Important game also, I would say, morally, as you mentioned, for Real Madrid, since they lost the last 4 Clásicos, since they lost all the important games, since Xabi Alonso has to prove himself, much more than for Barcelona. Already in October, Barcelona with some absentees, especially up front, Real Madrid with some absentees, especially in the back, without probably 𝗀𝗏𝗏, Alexander-Arnold, Huysen is doubtful, Rudiger or Alaba. Alvaro?
And Hansi Flick is another absence. I know he's the coach, but still he won't be there, and I guess that has a little bit of an impact on players as well.
Let's see also Pedri and Lamine Yamal, the 2 key players of Barcelona, now I would say in a slow point, in a down point of the physical preparation this season, but some others are stepping up. Great El Clásico, very important one. The bookies place Real Madrid as favorites. I want to check the smart bet, the AI of Oddspedia for this game. And here we can see the top tip is halftime, full-time, Real Madrid, 3.25. The AI is making me happy, Alvaro, but if I scroll down, then we have double chance, X2. So it's contradicting itself. 1.8, the double chance for Barcelona, since they are the underdog, and much more confidence is the goals market, over 2.5 goals. Odds 1.39. I think, or we all think, we are gonna see goals in this game. But as Tom Rennie said, Alvaro, why trusting the AI when we have yourself to give us tips and the deep understanding of the game? Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bernabeu, 4:15. Later on, we have Osasuna, Celta winless, the only team without a win in La Liga. Still 7 points, 7 draws, many of them 1-1, as you predicted last week. It was a good idea going for 1-1. They are conceding many goals, and it's not easy to play in Pamplona, because Osasuna are strong when they are playing at home. All 3 wins this season at home.
Yeah, a draw no bet for Osasuna comes to mind, 170. The draw, by the way, if you take the narrative of Celta, pays 325, because Celta has drawn 7 games already this season. They've got as many draws as last season already. You can look at it from a different perspective as well. They have gone 9 games without a win. But yeah, I think that Osasuna is slightly favorite here just because they are playing at home. So a draw no bet for Osasuna, 170 will be okay. Celta has conceded a goal in every game, and Osasuna is quite mature. They know how to deal in these kind of games, especially at home. Osasuna is a team that feels very comfortable in low-scoring games, and the numbers prove that. The total goals in their games this season goes up to 1.8, which is the lowest in La Liga. So this can be the kind of game in which Osasuna wins by 1-0, or a 1-1 draw could happen as well. So a draw no bet for Osasuna looks to me a little bit safe. If they win, you win 170. If they draw, which is a possibility that I don't discard because Celta is drawing a lot, your bet doesn't count, so you get your money back. So draw no bet for Osasuna, 170 can be the most balanced bet I can suggest for this game.
And then we have Rayo Alavés. I think 2 teams that shouldn't suffer this season. They are both in the middle of the table. Rayo way better when they are playing away. Great win in Levante, or in Valencia against Levante, and Alavés also quite good season. Perhaps they deserved the win against Valencia, and Alavés are better playing at home rather than away. And we have to take in consideration also, Alvaro, when we see Rayo, this favorite, that they are playing on Thursday, and this pays at all in a team like Rayo Vallecano.
Yeah, it does. I mean, they have a little bit of room to rotate, but not a lot. But anyway, I think that Rayo is slightly favorite for this game. So I'm going to go for an Asian handicap minus 0.25 for them. If they draw, you suffer half a lose. If they win, you win. And if they win, you get paid 170, which is okay. I also believe that Rayo needs a win at home. This has to be said. All the wins of Rayo have been away, but I think at home this time they can make it, or at least get a point, in which case you will suffer only half a lose, according to what I have suggested. Want to follow, maybe, Jorge de Frutos, international player with Spain. I don't think he will be in the World Cup squad, but still, he's got a very good level. He took part in 2 goals against Levante, and him to score or assist, de Frutos, I'm sure that pays over 2. So that's something that maybe you have to keep in mind, considering that he's in a very good form right now. But yeah, Alavés normally is stronger at home than away. That happens to a lot of sides, and Alavés is no exception. And Rayo Vallecano, strangely, is better away than at home this season, but eventually that's going to change. And I think that this is a good opportunity for Rayo to change a little bit that dynamic. Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Rayo, 170.
Rayo playing in Sweden against 𝗀𝗏𝗏. By the way, Alvaro, we have a new Swedish champions.
Yeah.
We have 𝗀𝗵𝗍𝗍, a team from a little village, and they will play Champions League football. Next season is a good story to tell.
I love it.
Sweden living strange days, having Graham Potter as a manager, fighting John Dahl Tomasson, and having a new champions, 𝗀𝗏𝗍𝗏. But this is a La Liga show, and for Monday we have a great game. We are not used to seeing these games on Monday. Betis Atlético de Madrid. Betis playing on Thursday. Europa League, and in really good form. I'm also surprised about these odds. Betis really the underdog, 3.2. Atlético de Madrid still to find a win away from home this season. They are coming from London, from a thrashing defeat 4-0 against Arsenal. Perhaps too harsh the result on them, but still they were worse than Arsenal. And Atlético, they are always suffering when they are coming back from Europe and they are playing away from home. This is happening in the last 2-3 seasons, Álvaro. And it's never easy to get points from the Benito Villamarín. That's why I'm so surprised to see Atlético Madrid favorite here. I wouldn't touch those odds of 2.3 for the Colchoneros.
I'm going to go for both teams to score, because I don't think that Atlético is the favorite. Both teams to score 170. Why? Because Betis, number one, is capitalizing chances, scoring goals. The other day, they managed to score 2 against Villarreal, which is not easy, with Anthony scoring after having a so-so game. Betis has scored at least 1 goal in their last 28 La Liga games, which is something that I believe that is obviously pointing us in the direction of the goals market. And Atlético de Madrid, yes, they've been poor away from home, with 3 defeats and 3 draws in all competitions. At the Emirates, they suffered, or they conceded 4 goals in 14 minutes. But still, I believe that Atlético can score a goal here on a Monday game. So my favorite will be both teams to score. I wouldn't go for Atlético winning. I think that Atlético are going to finish 3rd, but everything they will get this season will be based on their home form. Away from home, I don't think that Atlético de Madrid is going to be competitive. You don't change the mentality and become suddenly competitive away from home from day to night. It doesn't work like that. But yeah, I think that the quality of the players on the pitch, and especially the urgency of Atlético to get something from this game, plus the great scoring numbers of Betis lately, not because they score a lot, because they score frequently in games, make me say that both teams to score is the most likely outcome from this game.
Well, let's see what happened last season. Atlético lost against Betis. Betis really good in the second half. It's not bad also to back them to score in the second half. They did it against Villarreal, but also against Levante, for instance, or against Espanyol. Well, this is it, guys. La Liga Matchday 10, the weekend of El Clásico. Remember that you can post your tips in Oddspedia and win some cash prizes thanks to our tipster competitions, and of course participate on Rivals, where you can create your own tipster competitions. Álvaro, safe bet?
Real Madrid Barcelona, both teams to score 136.
And the ACCA, it was correct last weekend, by the way.
Yeah, the international ACCA was good too.
Yeah.
Which, one more for the Oddspedia team. So Mallorca will be Real Madrid Barcelona over 3 goals. Mbappé to score. Altogether 290.
And the Champions League ACCAs were correct on Tuesday, so a lot of winning tips. Let's try again with La Liga. Thank you, Alvaro. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye.